Travis Wayne Goodsell. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints did nothing in the church news about the memorial of Joseph Smith's assassination on the 27th of June. Just me. And so, as I informed you, they were going to do stuff about the 24th of July. And sure enough, I tell no lie, they did. They had Uchtdorf out in Germany, reliving the Heil Hitler days. He was born after, but America is becoming Nazi America for this election, or there will be a bloodbath. And then Church History Museum, which we'll get to here in a bit as I do the intro first. And so it's sad that it's going to take destruction for Mormons to come out of their Kool-Aid comas and have their faith bubbles bursted, when all they had to do was study church history and they would have not had their faith crises as is coming up. Of note, I was informed that the Perseid meteor showers this year are a month earlier. On August 11th to 12th. And so the 12th at 6 p.m. will be 9th of Av. It'll be the 10th in comparison, right? Yeah. No, 11th. 11/9? Is it the reverse? Is it? Hold on, let me check. It's tough to do left-brained stuff with my associative memory right brain. So bear with me. Gotta go to that file. Months. Religious months. Civil months. I think we do civil months, right? Yeah, it's 11th month. It's reverse. 11/9, 9/11. So last year, in case you forgot, or didn't pay attention, didn't know, Nelson had his 99th birthday on 9/9/2023. And then on 9/11, we found out 3 weeks later, Nelson fell. And I did the videos in advance telling you about the Perseid meteor showers for 9/9, Nelson's birthday. Perseus, in case you didn't know, oh, they did get me. Here I was waiting and those church cookies, they always get you with the Kool-Aid. Perseus, you'd have to watch Clash of the Titans, either the original or the reboot with the sequel, part 2 to the show, which was a good update, but the original was an excellent classic with Rocky Balboa's trainer. And so, yeah, he's the Christ figure for the Greeks. The one who restores the kingdom. Just like Hercule or Hercules, depending on whether it's Greek or Roman. And Yeah, it's all the same religion. It's just nobody deciphered Paleo-Hebrew and thus went on to decipher the learning of the Egyptians and the language of the Egyptians. And so they didn't make the discoveries that the Bible stories came directly from the Egyptian documents. And thus, so did the Roman scriptures, which are incorrectly called myths, and likewise the Greeks, likewise the Persians, likewise the Babylonians, likewise the Assyrians, and the Hittites and the Canaanites, all as they migrated out from Egypt. They took the stories with them and changed the language. Thus the baby name meanings are different in some cases. And there's differing stories depending on the cultural traditions of the various cultures as they migrate out. Even the Mayans and the Aztecs, all theirs come from the Egyptian documents too. And so when Christianity, oh man, not cool, church. This is cyber terrorism. The church's website's up, and so they know that I'm watching, and they're attacking by sending their cyber terroristic cookies. Or the cookies are giving me away, something like that. So yeah, the church can't do any good. And so Christianity, by them claiming to be Christian, was a big red flag for Mormons. And Mormons just didn't care to get it. And so yeah, the Perseid meteor showers are going to hit their peak on the 11th and into the 12th, right before the 9th of Av, which was the 2 dates when the Jerusalem temple was destroyed, both by the Babylonians and by the Romans. And they only had the Babylonian version of manuscript found. They didn't have his other book that was in the steamer trunk back at home when his kids looked through his collection to see what they could find, of which was a Roman period one. And so it would have been more like the Gospels had Sidney Rigdon obtained that one rather than the other one at the Pittsburgh Press. And so what's interesting for me personally is the dream I had when the church paid to have me indefinitely incarcerated and tortured unto death, which ended up only being 6 years of my life, for which I was then freed in 2014. Right there at the pre-show for the Latter Days with Perry Packer and Scott biting the big one with the sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven, sign in the heavens event. Wasn't just a tetrad. It was far bigger than that. But I did the videos. And while I was being tortured, I had to hypnotize myself to get some sleep. And the way I would do that was I would imagine myself in the mountains of Oregon, there by the seashore, out in the forest, in a log cabin, and I would go around each of the rooms and visualize the details in each of the rooms. And I would eventually add an observatory and a jacuzzi and a spare bedroom And so, yeah, obviously that would lead to a female knocking, "Hey neighbor, how you doing?" "Oh, hey, great. Hey, let's come in, have some dinner. Let me take you around to each of the rooms and show you each one of them so I can get to sleep." And so one of the dreams that I had involved meeting President Hinckley and Marjorie. She was dead, they were dead, they were both dead. It was 2008, in August. Interesting. But it was after the 20th of August. So we're coming up on that anniversary. Yippee-ki-yay. And so I was at Rick's, sort of. It wasn't a school setting. It was the basketball stadium, which was used for devotionals and performances. And there was a performance that night, and I had 2 tickets for it, no date. And I meet Hinckley and his wife. They're all dressed up to attend the event, but they come to me and say they don't have tickets, and they ask me if they can have mine. I say, "Sure, there you go. I'm not asking for anything in return. I'm not selling it to them. I'm not trying to use them, take advantage of them. I'll just give it to them." And he then expresses his gratitude by giving me the key card to his office. And on the key card was the number 77. And so, yeah, I go down the elevator, and get to the bottom, and there the security and the bulletproof glass and the key card, where you stick your card in and punch in numbers. And I was let in and eventually made it to his office. His room number 88 was filled with books and papers stacked up everywhere. But got into his office, wrote on the post-it note, "Thank you," and then went outside to a metal picnic table, and then the younger of the 2 women that were in the elevator came out to talk with me, and I woke up. Yeah, and I got in the elevator, and as I was going down, there was one woman that was there, and then all of a sudden another woman appears, and they were making out in the elevator. It was a dream. And so, yeah, and I had always been thinking about that, as my mom would go on to die on 12/21/21, and she was 77 years old. And so instantly my dream came to mind with my associative memory. And if you didn't know, I found out that my mom died because I had been searching the internet, because she stopped writing after her September letter. But with the transition out of that apartment, apparently her letter never made it. So I have no idea what she said in her last letter, because I wasn't reading any of her letters anyway. That's just my mom. She's very condescending and abusive, thinking she's trying to convince me to go back to the dark side. She doesn't get it. I am not the abuser. I am the abused, Mom. So now, in 2024, it is 177 years from 1847. So when I found that out, I'm going, uh-oh. Because 9th Ave, the destruction of the temple. Stone temple. Jerusalem. There is no Jerusalem temple for the latter days, but the prophecies are very clear. A stone temple will be destroyed, referring back to 9th Ave of the Jewish calendar for the destruction of both temples. And here it comes. We are in the last year of the latter days. April 2024 was the last day of the religious calendar for the Jews. And so October 7th or 2nd, when the solar eclipse will be, it will be the last day of the year in the civil calendar. And we've already been told that if Trump wins on day 1, he will implement Project 2025, and there will be a bloodbath. And he's also made it very clear that if he doesn't win for this election, there will be a bloodbath. So, a bloodbath either way. And SCOTUS has passed into law, screw Congress, that bump stock weapons will be the SCOTUS weapon of choice for Civil War II, this election. The bloodbath. And so, having studied the Joseph Smith papers, having studied church history, I have come to learn that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is behind the overthrow of the government to establish their kingdom. Brigham Young did it, not Joseph Smith. Everybody gets this wrong. And so what Pioneer Day, as it's been come to be called, is actually Human and Child Slave Trafficking Day, as well as Human and Child Sex Trafficking Day, along with Murder Day. Isn't that special? And so the 22 July 2024, 2 more days, as last Thursday was the Mormon cash cow run through the streets of Salt Lake City to remind Mormons that they are the cash cows for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Since 1923, when Heber J. Grant incorporated the corporation of the President, specifically stating therein that the members of the former Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints of Brigham Young are the ones to be used to make the money for the corporation of the President. And thus, Section 119 by Brigham Young, not Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith used Malachi. Joseph Smith used the Book of Mormon. He did not make Section 119. That's a forged document. Mormons get angry at me. It's because they know they're evil. They know they're descendants of the Danites. They know that they have to promote evil. Section 119 is evil. It's all criminal. I did the video not too long ago, again, going over all of the various crimes of federal law in Section 119. And so Mormons, is the Book of Mormon the keystone or not? If you're going to claim that Section 119 is true, then you denounce the Book of Mormon, because it goes against the Book of Mormon. Priestcraft, yes or no? No. Unless Section 119, then yes. And even with the Article of Faith, number 12, we believe in being subject to kings, presidents, rulers, and magistrates, and obeying, honoring, and sustaining the law. You can't go against the Constitution. Claim religious freedom when you've already got it in the First Amendment. You're violating Article of Faith number 12. Don't tell me you're religious and that you're getting your messages from Jesus. You're passing out Kool-Aid to the Mormons. And that's exactly what was done to the pioneers. Brigham Young and his Danites were converting people to the wrong name of the church and the wrong religion. Exactly what Constantine did in the creation of Christianity, to overthrow the Jews. The whole Bible is Jewish. It's not Christian. It's put into chronological historical order because of the first creed of Christianity. They claim it's literal history. And so Christianity denies prophecy and revelation. And so likewise did these Danites of Brigham Young do to Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon. It was never called another testament of Jesus Christ. That was Spencer W. Kimball who put that on there. The grandson of Heber C. Kimball, the number one of Brigham, who was the mastermind behind it all. And so, the picture is of a mother and her little girl forced to wear a cute pioneer dress, no cell phone, can't talk with her friends, preparing her for child bride polygamy in the coming days. And of course they only go over the good stuff, the faith-promoting stuff of the pioneer days. Mormons obviously are not told, and thus purposely don't want to research to learn about the human and sex trafficking of humans or adults and children. And so she's looking old enough to it's one thing to learn a skill of how to make things with yarn. It's another thing to use that as a diversionary tactic away from being a handmaid's tale, to be abused by the church, sexually abused, criminally abused, used to steal your money for the church. As they have no authority. It's not Joseph's church. They didn't follow the true process for succession. Therefore, they are not prophets, seers, revelators, and especially translators, which they never claim. Because they deny prophecy and revelation, just like Christians do. And so it's disgusting for me, knowing the truth, to read this. Church History Museum's Pioneer Fair helps children appreciate early saints' faith. It's a false faith. They were converted to a Christian church about Jesus, not Jewish. And history, which is a revisionist history, exactly what Constantine did to the Jews. These are evil, abominable practices of religion. You are erasing the history of a religion. And it's worse for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints because Judaism was never Constantine's religion. Neither was it any of those bishops who went. Jews got chased out and murdered by the Romans. They were hiding in Saudi Arabia with the Babylonians who got kicked out by Persia. But Mormons are doing it to their founder. That makes it far more worse. Not to mention turning the Book of Mormon into literal history. Now, instead of the Holy Ghost raping a 14-year-old girl who has an immaculate child, now, for this church, Heavenly Father comes from outer space to his 14-year-old girl, rapes her, and abandons her with the baby. Oh, but it's Jesus, the Savior of the world, so we'll allow it. She's a chosen vessel for rape. And you're not disturbed by that as a Mormon. Dear God, you are worse than my white supremacist Christian nationalist peers in grade school who are now running the country into the ground, exactly as they said they wanted to do as kids. Mormons are abominable. I'm having trouble finding the perfect word, and abominable is it. You are a disgraceful humiliation to betray your founder, to betray your own Book of Mormon, denying the sun up in the sky as being there. You know what the Book of Mormon says, and yet you still believe in the lies of Section 119, Section 132, Section 116, Section 117, Section 118, Section... a whole measure splits. And you can't figure it out from the first vision, because you see the added words to the name of Joseph's church, Jesus Christ. And you assume that Joseph Smith was wrong. And so you can't understand why Joseph couldn't call the personage Jesus. And then Joseph is wrong about gold plates, and so you call them golden plates, because that means that they would only be 50 pounds rather than 200 pounds, because you've now turned it into literal history, just like you did to the Book of Mormon, just like Christians did to the Bible. And so you have a quote from one of the parents, whether it's this woman or not, they don't say. I hope that they can see what the pioneers were willing to sacrifice, their honor and integrity, because of their faith. You can't have whatever faith you want. The Constitution allows it, but you can't commit crime with it. You can't take away the faith of other faith members with it. But here we go, Project 2025. YouTube's already preparing, banning women's channels just because they're women. An outright sexual discrimination of sex abuse by YouTube and the new CEO. And so all these Mormons who try to be desperately clinging to anything to claim that the church is true, that the church is good and charitable, is just pathetic. You know, we hear in the news about how the FLDS church keeps getting in trouble with the law. We hear about these other branch offs from Brigham Young that keep getting in trouble with the law. Some of them are infamous, like Ted Bundy, all Reds. And then you hear those of Mormons who are abominable. The 8 passengers, Jody Hildebrandt, Mark Hoffman, Brian David Mitchell, Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, lest we forget. I got the band from the niece of Chad Daybell there on the ear. It's a good thing he's getting the death penalty. And now we got Kamala Harris, who's going to be the president candidate, and she doesn't want death penalties. Can have a national ban on death penalties. Victims must remain victims for the rest of their life as the guilty parties get to go free. Because we don't want to murder them and stoop to their level. It's called judgment. It's called restitution for the victims. Dear God. All they had to do, Biden, all he had to do was invoke the Insurrection Act and get America back on track. And he refused to do it. Congress didn't get fixed. SCOTUS all of a sudden got broke. And Biden did nothing. And now he's quitting. Pathetic. And so, yeah, the Book of Mormon is going to be true. 3 Nephi chapter 7. We're all doomed. But yeah, it is extremely disturbing to hear from Mormons who are so upset with me, to see from Mormons who are so upset with me when I expose the crimes and atrocities of this church, that they are upset that I would dare expose it because they want to practice it. The men who attack me regarding sex trafficking are indicating to me they want to practice it. They want to rape that little girl. And you women are okay with this? Oh, he's a good person. It's my fault. And you wonder why Utah Mormon women are the highest per capita who are doped up on depression drugs. You gotta stop living in denial. Wake up to the reality. The church hates you. The church hates everyone. Unless you are rich and white. Everyone else they use to steal your money. And it's just pathetic that you have Mormons who are in line to be sacrificed for the coming bloodbath, and you're just living in your little fantasy world about how the church is so true and perfect because the prophets aren't actually fully implementing it yet. Nelson changed the law of chastity for polygamy. He's lowered the age to 11, which, yeah, she could be 11. I don't really know. My little Liz was taken from me when she was 4 years old. You read in the Book of Mormon of the horrible wars and all of the murders and the abuses and the tortures, and you believe it's literal history, and so you don't think that it would actually happen, this election bloodbath. You know, you hear about a congressman who's still in Congress who is trafficking little girls. And you don't hear from my peers as a kid of what they wanted to do to women, what they wanted to do to blacks, what they wanted to do from others who are colored, what they wanted to do to the poor, what they wanted to do to LGBTQIAPO+, what they wanted to do to women, minority women, so yeah, the whole long list. It scared me as a kid. I didn't want to associate with guys because of that. And then when I saw it in my parents, I didn't want to associate with them. And then the peers just say that, you know, you're just being a sensitive snowflake. That you gotta be tough. It's survival of the fittest. You gotta get them before they get you. And you just don't see it. You won't read Project 2025. Because everything that my childhood peers were talking about doing, I'm finding it in Project 2025. Oh, right, they're all grown-ups now. Same ones who wrote it. They never changed. They never grew out of it. And so, yeah, let's close by again reminding you, Brigham Young stole Joseph's church to claim it as his own. He was given his second anointing in 1846, when the temple wasn't even dedicated yet. He purposely waited until May 1st, the anniversary of the Illuminati, with a symbol of the inverted pentagram that he put all around the Nauvoo temple. Surrounded it with inverted pentagrams of the Illuminati, of Lucifer. That's why it's on the keystone of the doors of the headquarters Salt Lake Temple. Their intention was to overthrow the government, overthrow the constitutional republic, and restore a monarchy. And religion is perfect because you got this Jesus guy that you can blame for restoring a monarchy. And so he fled the country. We realized that his original plan was to get Joseph Smith elected as president and then have him assassinated. Then Brigham Young, with his Council of 50, would take over the government and establish martial law to enforce it. But he didn't go through with that. Instead, had Joseph and Hiram murdered, stole the church, fled the country to this valley, which was Mexico territory. It was not the United States. He established his kingdom of Zion, called Deseret. He was king because he was anointed king with his second anointing in his temple of Nauvoo. Murdered the native Indians to settle the land. And so, the next year, 1848, Mexico seceded the land to the United States. The United States designated this area as the territory of Utah. Sent Brigham Young a letter saying that he is being offered the position of the first governor of the territory, dethroned as king. So do you think Brigham Young thanked his American liberators? Nope. He murdered and chased out every single federal officer that was sent to the Salt Lake Valley. And then, of course, there's the brothels that were built. Warren Porter Rockwell's at the point of the mountain, and then the Regent Street one for Brigham Young, so that he can comfort himself during his latest divorce. Send a terroristic threat letter to the government to back out. It's his land, it's his kingdom. And so the United States sent in the military. Couldn't build their temple made of stone. The only temple made of stone for 40 years. The next year, Brigham Young established the Perpetual Immigration Fund that was human trafficking and sex trafficking of adults and children. Even though the converts didn't know about polygamy yet. That was a secret practice among his Danites. It was a secret combination under Joseph Smith's nose. Joseph Smith would excommunicate anybody who was caught practicing polygamy. And ex-fo nevermos don't catch on to this. Why would he approve of John C. Bennett practicing polygamy if he would excommunicate John C. Bennett for polygamy? People just don't think. They just trust bad people who lie. Oh, he said it. Yeah. Thomas B. Marsh was told by Danites that it's Joseph Smith's orders. It's now Joseph Smith's new church. It's now the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He's now murdering Mormons who don't obey him. He's raping, pillaging, plundering, burning, murdering. He's going to coup the government. Really? And so we hear from George Albert Smith that Thomas B. Marsh was excommunicated by Joseph Smith for defending his wife's honor over milk. No. Thomas B. Marsh was never authorized legally to be excommunicated. Brigham Young has no authority to excommunicate. He's only a missionary in the Quorum of the 12 missionaries. He is to preach the Book of Mormon as Jewish and about the Jewish religion. And he didn't even do that right. And so the purpose was to bring in all of his converts to the valley to kick out the United States of America. And thus, 1857, on 9/11, you have pioneers trying to settle the United States of America, which was still not a state yet, because it was still territories, but lots of land, they thought. But Brigham Young had sent people north and south as a blockade, and thus the Mountain Meadows Massacre by Senator Lee's third great-grandfather, murderer of women and children. And the church had Brigham Young denied plausible deniability. He purposely signed the letter on the 13th, even though it was before. No. So 1852, the new converts who make it to the valley, the new pioneers of human and child slave trade and human and child sex trafficking, adult and child, I keep saying human. They're now being told they're supposed to practice polygamy. It was Joseph Smith. We forced women to sign affidavits after the fact. We had no DNA evidence, so these women are sure that this child is from Joseph Smith. Sorry, honey. There's only a couple, but no, none of them are from Joseph Smith. They're from the original father. The women lied to find Joseph, threatened by the church, because the church will murder you. Because most of you young'uns did not go through the temple when they had the penalties. And so now all of that's gone. We no longer murder Mormons. No longer demand that Mormons murder themselves. If they have sexy thoughts, look at a woman. Gotta murder yourself if you look on a woman. Sorry. It's the way it is. Even though sperm has more rights than a woman now. It has all rights. Women don't have rights anymore. Sperm has rights. All hail the sperm. God, don't even get me going on that one. Just so sick and wrong that the Democrats were so spineless to do what needed to be done to save America. That they were just basically a lame duck government these 4 years to allow the church to do what they've done. It's called aiding and abetting. It's giving aid and comfort to the enemy. Makes them equally guilty. So yeah, the church was shut down in 1887, finally, by the United States of America for tithing. The Perpetual Immigration Fund finally got back to the United States, and it enhanced the criminal activities that were going on. And so the United States put a stop to it. Grover Cleveland only pardoned the Mormons for polygamy, not sex trafficking. Not tithing crimes, not Section 119 crimes. But that's why Brigham Young blamed Joseph for it on the documents. So that when the United States would get him in trouble, they say, well, it's just our founder. See? Founder, Section 132, magically appeared in the Doctrine and Covenants the year before I died. It has Joseph's name on it. It's not me, even though it's my linguistic fingerprints. All to lie and deceive the government. And it's just sad and pathetic that Mormons, Mormon women, blacks, all give the church a pass. And it's most likely because of the belief that there's a real Jesus who will smite you down. That the church has to be true if they claim Jesus is real. So you can't take off your underwear. Jesus will smite you down. You have to attend church or Jesus will smite you down. You better pray and read your scriptures or Jesus will smite you down. You can't criticize the church or ask questions because Jesus will smite you down. You have to go to church on Sunday, if I didn't already say that, because Jesus will smite you down. I did make 2 videos on Sunday for that. 10 Commandments. And you don't see the danger It's the Jewish commandments, even though it's Babylonian. It's the Babylonian assimilated Jews. And Christians are claiming it's theirs. And so the one about God, yeah, it's Jesus. No, it's not. Moses was not a Christian. It was not Jesus. What are you doing? How are 4 billion plus people on the earth today that dumb? Just sad and pathetic. But Jesus talks about obeying the 10 Commandments. A Jew wrote it, not a Christian. It's not literal history. Why is that so hard? See, I couldn't watch Handmaid's Tale. I saw the first episode and got to the part where the woman was raped with the hymn playing in the background, and I was just too freaked out. Me, too freaked out. See, because the church, under Benson, told us we can't watch R-rated movies that are. I'm smart enough to hear that are. Everybody else put a period. Even when I show them from the ensign of the conference issue. Period. No. That are. Now look at the end. He talks about Article of Faith number 13. If there is anything beautiful, lovely, of good report, or praiseworthy, we seek after it. Sorry, no such thing as porn, because it's all beautiful, lovely, of good report, and praiseworthy. To call women evil and harmful is Lucifer's morality. From Brigham Young's temple. Quick, cover up and hide. He's not just talking about nudity. He's also talking about his grander plan of crimes and sins. Cover them up and hide them. So, law of sacrifice. Mormons must cover up and hide the sins and crimes of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, even if they have to sacrifice their life to do it. So, I'm sick and disgusted, because that's what this 24th of July, celebrated every year, is all about. And they'll have the police forces in the parade to show that they are fascist militants. And if you haven't been hearing the news, the cops, they have no idea how to investigate crime. You got the police officer telling the press, we need the public's help to figure out what happened, because we have no clue. We only know how to shoot people. Innocent people in the back. And since there aren't enough blacks in Utah, they go after the mentally disturbed. Do I have disturbed on that list? Interesting. It's actually, yeah, it's on top of the book that's on top of the box. Haven't put them away yet. Psychologists just bully people to be cash cows for them. That's what the church does. They bully you and threaten you. Blame Jesus so that you are a cash cow. I am a cash cow for God. Oh, I'm doing I am a child of God. I just finished writing to the Idaho chick in response about on my mission, doing I am a Fruit Loop from hell to I am a child of God. And so, yeah. Alrighty, this is already too long and it's 6 o'clock.